Big developments in the Gyanvapi case. The Supreme Court has heard the case today. We've learnt that the Special Commissioner Advocate Vishal Singh has sought a minimum 2 days to prepare a commission report on the matter. Joining us on this is exclusive is Court Commissioner Ajay Pratap Singh. सिंह साहब, रिपब्लिक टीवी से बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सीधे आपसे सवाल करना चाहूंगा, जो ये डिले को लेकर बात हो रही है कि आपको और 2 दिन की जरूरत है, उसके पीछे कारण क्या है?
उसके पीछे कारण ये है कि 3 दिन जो है सर्वे वहाँ पे चला पूरा, और तो हम लोग हर रोज़ जो है रिपोर्ट तैयार करते थे, लेकिन पूरा रिपोर्ट तैयार नहीं हो पाई। और उसके साथ साथ जो वहाँ पर फोटोग्राफी और वीडियोग्राफी जो हुई थी उसको भी देखना था, और प्लस जो ड्राफ्ट्समैन थे उनकी भी रिपोर्ट लेनी थी, वो कंप्लीट मिल नहीं पाया था, और रिपोर्ट भी करीब 70% तैयार हो पाया था। इसलिए आज जो है माननीय न्यायालय के समक्ष श्री विशाल सिंह द्वारा एक एप्लीकेशन दी गई कि रिपोर्ट सबमिट करने के लिए मुझे 2 दिन का समय दिया जाए।
मोटा मोटी अगर सवाल ये करूं कि अजय प्रताप जी कि अगर इस पूरे रिपोर्ट की अगर बात करें तो इस रिपोर्ट में क्या क्या शामिल किया जाएगा? आप जो सर्वे, आपने जो 3 दिन की सर्वे की, मोटा मोटी अगर आप बात कर पाए इस सर्वे, इस पूरे रिपोर्ट के बारे में, तो क्या आप कह सकते हैं?
पूरे रिपोर्ट के बारे में माननीय न्यायालय के आदेशानुसार, जैसा कि हम लोगों ने वहाँ पे जो सर्वे किया, पूरा जो देखा गया तहखाना और फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे पूरे हर जगह का जो हम लोगों ने मुआयना किया उसको नोट किया गया, तो पूरा सब रिपोर्ट में हर चीज़ रहेगा, जो कि हम लोग माननीय न्यायालय के समक्ष ही प्रस्तुत करेंगे। और उसके बारे में डिटेल आपको उतना नहीं बता पाएंगे, क्योंकि हमारी भी कुछ बंदिशें हैं और हम कोर्ट के उससे बंधे हुए हैं, और हम किसी पक्ष का हम लोग जो है निष्पक्ष रूप से जांच किए हुए हैं, और वहाँ पर वादी पक्ष और प्रतिवादी पक्ष सभी उपस्थित थे। तो क्या क्या देखा हमने, क्या क्या नोट किया, ये सब चीज़ें हम माननीय न्यायालय के समक्ष ही हैंडओवर करेंगे।
अजय प्रताप जी, आपके सहयोगी आज जिनको हटाया गया, उन्होंने एक बहुत बड़ा दावा किया है। उनका ये कहना है कि कहीं ना कहीं उन्हें फंसाने की कोशिश किया जा रहा है। आप उसके बारे में क्या कहेंगे? क्योंकि जो सर्वे को लेकर आपके साथ वो सहयोगी, आपके सहयोगी थे, आप उनके साथ आप काम कर चुके हैं, तो ये पूरे जो आरोप प्रत्यारोप जो लग रहे हैं उसके ऊपर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। अब थोड़ा सा शायद लापरवाही उनसे शायद हुई थी, ये कोर्ट के संज्ञान में आया था, जिस कारण कोर्ट ने आज उन्हें हटा दिया।
बट अजय प्रताप जी, आज आपने देखा ये पूरे मामले को आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इसकी सुनवाई हुई है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कुछ आदेश इस पूरे मामले को लेकर उन्होंने किया है, बट कहीं ना कहीं जो सवाल उठ रहा है शिवलिंग को लेकर, जो सवाल उठ रहा है कि आखिरकार वहां शिवलिंग है कि नहीं है, कुछ ऐसे वीडियोस आ चुके हैं, इसीलिए कई सारे सवाल उठ रहे हैं। मुझे पता है कि कहीं ना कहीं आपके ऊपर भी प्रतिबंध होगा कि आप पूरे रिपोर्ट के बारे में नहीं कह पाएंगे, बट अगर मैं पूछूं कि सर्वे को लेकर क्या आप संतुष्ट है कि पूरे इलाके को आपने, पूरे एरिया को आपने ठीक तरह से आपने सर्वे कर लिया? आप संतुष्ट है इस पूरे सर्वे को लेकर?
जी हाँ, पूरे सर्वे पूरा किया गया। माननीय न्यायालय द्वारा जो आदेश दिया गया था तथा जहाँ जहाँ का और जिस कार्नर का सर्वे करना था वो पूरा हो चुका है। वो भी सर्वे जो हुआ है वो भी वादी पक्ष प्रतिवादी पक्ष सभी के सामने उनकी उपस्थिति में हुआ है। और सर्वे कमीशन जो होता है या सर्वे कमिश्नर जो नियुक्त होता है, वो किसी से, वादी पक्ष से या प्रतिवादी पक्ष से किसी से मिलता नहीं है। वो एक तरह से निष्पक्ष और जो यथास्थिति वहाँ पे जो मौके पे स्थिति रहती है उसी की रिपोर्ट देता है वो माननीय न्यायालय को, या किसी के पक्षपात वो नहीं करता है। तो हम लोगों ने भी पूरी कोशिश किया है कि निष्पक्ष रूप से उसकी जांच किया गया है, और निष्पक्ष रूप से जो सामने आया है उसको माननीय न्यायालय के समक्ष सुपुर्द करें।
एक आखिरी सवाल मैं ये करना चाहूँगा अजय प्रताप जी, इस पूरे मामले को लेकर जिस तरह से एक साइड ये कहते रहती है कि आप लोग बायस्ड हो चुके हैं, आप लोग एक तरफा की बातें कर रहे हैं, वो सब जो एलिगेशंस आपके ऊपर जो आरोप लगातार लगते आए हैं उसके बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे?
ऐसा नहीं है, हम लोगों ने दोनों पक्षों को लेकर के चला है और दोनों पक्षों का सहयोग भी था पूरा, किसी एक पक्ष से बायस नहीं है और वादी प्रतिवादी के सहयोग से ही, प्रशासन के सहयोग से ही हम लोगों ने सर्वे का कार्य पूरा किया हुआ है। और किसी एक पक्ष का अगर कोई एक बात कहता है तो वो गलत है कि हम किसी एक पक्ष का जो है सहयोग कर रहे हैं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अजय प्रताप सिंह. That was the court commissioner once again speaking exclusively to Republic TV. And this comes at a time when there's been a major development. His aide, you also have the other court commissioner who's now been sacked by the court on the allegation that he was leaking information. You also had Ajay Pratap Singh weighing his opinion on this entire matter. Let's also listen into some of the reactions that are coming in, and we'll also get our reporters on the ground.
अजय कुमार मिश्रा को, चूंकि उनके सहयोगी आरपी मिश्रा मीडिया में सूचनाएं लीक कर रहे थे, ये आरोप विशाल सिंह ने रिटर्न एप्लीकेशन के द्वारा ऑनरेबल कोर्ट को बताई थी। तो ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने ये कहा है, मैं लास्ट ऑपरेटिव पोर्शन पढ़ दे रहा हूं कि अतः प्रार्थना पत्र 79 ग इस आशा के साथ निस्तारित किया जाता है कि वकील कमिश्नर श्री अजय कुमार मिश्रा को तत्काल प्रभाव से कार्यमुक्त अर्थात हटाया जाता है। विशेष अधिवक्ता आयुक्त श्री विशाल सिंह दिनांक 12/5/22 के पश्चात की समस्त कमीशन कार्रवाई की रिपोर्ट स्वयं दाखिल करेंगे। सहायक अधिवक्ता आयुक्त श्री अजय प्रताप सिंह विशेष अधिवक्ता आयुक्त श्री विशाल सिंह को के निर्देशन में कार्य करेंगे। अजय प्रताप सिंह स्वतंत्र रूप से कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे। दिनांक 12/5/22।
Because in my opinion, a grave procedural unfairness has happened, because the commissioner had not given a report to the to the lower court judge. A petitioner moves an application, and before even the notice is given to the Muslim side, the honorable judge passes an order to protect that area, that so-called thing called shivling, which is not there, it is a fountain, and then limiting the namazis to 20. So that trial court order is completely wrong, it is unfair, and we hope that on the next date of hearing, which is going to be held on the 19th, the Supreme Court will recognize the grave procedural unfairness in A, ignoring 1991 Act, B, the Allahabad High Court stay of 1998, C, appointing of the commissioner ex parte, D, ordering and sealing without hearing of the other party. So these are the four things which we hope that on the next date of hearing the Supreme Court will take note of it. But as I have told you earlier, the order of the trial court is completely wrong, unfair, illegal, which we hope that Supreme Court on the next date of hearing will completely stay that order.
So today in Varanasi court also, sir, one of the surveyor trial court, Mr. Mishra, he was removed.
Ajay Mishra has been removed now,
removed
and they have been given 2 days of time to submit the report to Varanasi court. How do you see this?
First of all, I am against that survey. Number one, I was against, when I'm against the survey, I'm also against the appointment of a commissioner, because you go and ask for a survey and you give a name to the court, and the court accepts that name or order the survey. The lower court has forgotten the 1998 stay, and the honorable judge of the lower court did not even allow the Muslim side to be heard. So that is procedurally completely unfair that you deny a party to even hear, and then secondly, the commissioner did not even give a report. It is the petitioner who goes to the court and says, "Oh, Baba mil gaye." और आप मुस्लिम साइड को सुनने भी नहीं देते, आप नोटिस भी नहीं देते, और आप ऑर्डर्स पास कर रहे थे, एक्स पार्टी ऑर्डर पास कर रहे थे आप।
लेकिन सर वीडियोस भी इमर्ज हुए हैं।
देखिए मैडम, सुनिए, नहीं सुनिए, वो आप ये बात आप कोर्ट में जाके बोलिए, फिर आप एक सुनिए, नहीं, कोर्ट में अगर आपका और मेरा झगड़ा है तो कोर्ट का काम यह है कि प्रोसीजरल फेयरनेस ये होता है कि दोनों को सुनकर कोर्ट कोई फैसला देता है, और इस मामले में कोर्ट ने सर्वे कमिश्नर को अपॉइंट किया, वो रिपोर्ट नहीं देता है, दूसरी साइड भागती है विदाउट मुस्लिम साइड को नोटिस दिए, और कोर्ट 1 घंटे के अंदर ऑर्डर पास कर देता है कि नमाजियां कम, वो सो कॉल जो फवारा है उसको शिवलिंग उसको प्रोटेक्ट कर दो, पुलिस बिठा दो वहां पर.
But Supreme Court has also
No,
said that
Supreme Court, the word is Supreme Court in the impugn order. So don't go along with it. They said in the impugn order. वो पढ़िए आप. अब ये उसका बाजा मत बजाइए.
पर सर उसको प्रोटेक्ट करने की बात की गई है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा
सुप्रीम
कि DA को protect करना
नो
चाहिए.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इन द impugn order कहा है. और एक बात याद रखिए, वजू करना जो है मुसलमानों में रिलीजियस ऑब्जर्वेंस में आता है, तो वजू करने की इजाजत है इसमें.
so you are satisfied with the
उसको प्रोटेक्ट नहीं करना चाहिए, वजू करना चाहिए वहाँ पे, ये बोल रहे हैं आप.
नहीं, मैं कहाँ मैं बोल रहा हूँ, आप बोल रहे हो. मैं तो इन कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आपको बोल रहा हूँ. कोर्ट ये बोला कि रिलीजियस यू कैन गो एंड विथ ऑल and observe when you can perform all your namaz with the religious observances.
But at the same time,
No, religious, so please understand, religious observances also include performing wuzu, performing ablution. And the court said in the impugn order, my whole contention was that number one, this whole survey is completely wrong. Appointment of commissioner is completely wrong. It violates 1991 Act. And procedural unfairness. How can the other party, without even that survey commissioner going and giving a report, how can the court even without hearing the Muslim side issue an order? So that is why I am of the opinion that hopefully on 19th when the Supreme Court will hear this, we hope that the Supreme Court will give a complete stay on this order.
Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi has
And do complete justice.
Sir, a similar petition has been moved in Mathura, sir. There, the petitioner has requested court to stay to seal Shahi Idgah and deploy security there, sir.
Well, you should go back when the Babri Masjid title suit judgment was given. While addressing to you, all of you were there at that point of time. You are witness to what I had said. I had said that judgment will open doors and similar demands will arise, and now similar demands are arising now.
How you see, sir, similar kind of issue being raised in Karnataka, sir?
They are completely wrong. They are completely wrong, and that is why we hope that on 19th, when this matter will be heard by the Honorable Supreme Court, the Supreme Court will give a complete stay order. I don't know what the Supreme Court would do, but I expect and I hope that the Supreme Court will give a complete stay order and a complete justice will be done, and there will be a full stop to all these issues, because the Supreme Court has said in the Supreme Court judgment of Babri Masjid Ram Mandir title dispute that 1991 Act relates to basic structure of our constitution, and this whole argument which the Sangh Parivar gives, historical wrong. Supreme Court, they should read that paragraph 83.
सर, जो हिंदुओं की आस्था है वहाँ पे नंदी भी मिला है और बोल रहे हैं कि वो शिवलिंग है, उसको मानने के लिए तैयार क्यों नहीं है सर?
कौन लाने को तैयार नहीं है?
आप मानने के लिए क्यों तैयार नहीं है?
कोर्ट को जाके बोलो ना. आप एक बार सुनिए कि आप लोग ये क्यों नहीं दिखाते आपके मीडिया पे? जिस दिन देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी
Asaduddin Owaisi now hits out, says the trial court order is absolutely wrong, illegal. It has basically ignored the 1991 Act. Let me just quickly go across to my colleague Aranya, who's been tracking all the developments at the Supreme Court. A very balanced order now coming in from the Supreme Court. Aranya, just quickly take us through the details that you're picking up.
Well, yes, so Shravan, clearly a very, very balancing act done by the Supreme Court, clearly saying that the site where the shivling was basically recovered shall be protected, and also the Muslim side should be allowed to pray. Basically, the trial court order, which stated that only 20 people would be allowed, has been set off, but the other two directions of the trial court have been kept intact. In fact, and Shravan, what is very, very important from the Owaisi statement also, and what the Muslim side argued also, is they are on very, very similar lines, Shravan, because the Muslim side, when they were arguing, Mr. Ahmadi, when he was arguing before the court today, Shravan, was clearly saying that the 1991 Act was not followed, but then the Supreme Court was very clear, Shravan, in its aspect that it's a balancing act and the site has to be protected and no stay on the trial court order to be granted. Shravan.
Well, thank you very much, Ananya, for getting us all the latest details. All eyes would be on the next hearing that's going to take place on Thursday. Well, in fact, Republic has now accessed incriminating evidence against Karti Chidambaram. These are the details that we are picking up from sources within the agency. In fact, we are being told that there have been an email exchange between Karti Chidambaram's close aide Bhaskara Raman and a company representative on the reissuance of the visas. This email dates back to 2011. In fact, CBI has come across large tranche of email exchanges which have been examined during the preliminary inquiry. Top sources also indicating that the company representative had a meeting with Bhaskar Raman on the issue, and there was an assurance that payment would be made. The payment was shown as consultancy fees. These consultancy fees was paid from a company that is into the business of manufacturing industrial knives. 50 lakh rupees, that was a single time payment that was made. The payment has now been traced by the agency. This was for the 263 visas that were issued. CBI suspects that the number could very well go up. CBI has already questioned representatives of the company. Company representative who paid the money has also been questioned. They suspect that the number could very well go beyond 263. But the big evidence that we're talking about, there is an email exchange, a clear email exchange between Bhaskar Raman and the company representative. They're essentially talking about the money trail. They're also talking about the reissuance of visas. But the question to be asked here is that why exactly would the company really approach a man who is largely known as the chartered accountant of Karti Chidambaram? There is absolutely no link. Apurva, you're outside Bhaskar Raman's residence at this point in time. Is he there? The man who was there, the man who has been arrested in the past. But before I go across to you, Apurva, there is also another big breaking news now coming in. Joining me on this broadcast is our executive editor, Aishwarya Kapoor, is joining us on this broadcast. Aishwarya, the latest details now coming in. In fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs back in 2011 had flagged this off, raising this question that why exactly would Chinese nationals be given this visa when this work could very well be done by Indian companies. That means the Ministry of Home Affairs, at least junior officials, had already flagged this off. Was this a deliberate move made by then Home Minister to ignore all the concerns that were raised?
Well, Shravan, if sources in our agencies are concerned, with whom you are also in touch, we are being clearly told that the Home Secretary of that moment, the person who was the topmost officer in the MHA at that point of time, was aware of this scam, this corruption, this irregularity in the process which is being followed, and was also aware that a family member of the then Home Minister P. Chidambaram is being used by this Chinese company to not only pressurize the MHA but also to get those visas, though at that particular approval, which was not at all according to the process. The topmost officer in the MHA at that point of time was aware of this scam, of this corruption, of this irregularity, and that in itself is a massive point, that the top official was aware of this irregularity and was brought this particular irregularity in front of the then Home Minister, and at the end of the day he was told, according to our sources, to carry on, accommodate. And that in itself indicates that not only him, even the Home Minister was aware of that point of time. That was P. Chidambaram, because his son, because the process is such, Shravan, that you and me are aware that it goes through at least 6 to 8 tables, 6 to 8 different officers and at least 3 divisions within the MHA. You are talking about a visa approval for a Chinese firm, and that too not under a process. So it goes through 6 to 8 tables, 3 different divisions. It could not have happened under any circumstance that the top officers were not, we will not say involved, but not aware. So they were aware. And if they were aware, we are being told that they had brought this issue up in front of the minister at that point of time. And when they were told to accommodate, they followed what the minister told them according to our sources. So the top officer in the MHA at that point of time was aware of this scam, this corruption, this irregularity in granting visas to these Chinese individuals. Shravan, back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Aishwarya, for getting us the big exclusive. Ministry of Home Affairs was very well aware of what was really happening. And the fact of the matter is that they had essentially flagged this off. And as Aishwarya was also pointing out, that why exactly would a chartered accountant based in Chennai be brought in to try and reissue visas for a company that was based out of Punjab? That's all that we have. Thank you very much, Aishwarya, as well as Apurva, for getting us all the latest details. The big exclusive on Karthi Chidambaram.